Welcome to another video, the same every time, IGCSE Maths, GCSE Maths, looking at the kind of questions that, apart from the numbers, are the same every time. We're looking at vector questions that have numbers in them, and not the vector questions that have pictures in them. We'll look at that some other time, coming soon, but right now, vectors with numbers. Well, this question, it looks different to the questions we've done so far, but actually it is the same every time. It's the same. The magnitude of the vector 20k is 29. Find the value of k. My advice when you're in this kind of situation is just start the question, do something and see what happens. Let's start the question as if we knew what the value of k was and we were finding the magnitude. So if you want to pause the video and have a go, I'm going to try this question though myself. And let's see, if I was working out the magnitude of the vector, I would start with 20 squared, and then I would do the bottom number of the vector squared, which is k squared, add them together, square root. That's how you find the magnitude of a vector, and they tell me that the magnitude is 29. So everything on my left-hand side is square rooted. So that means I can move my square root to the other side, becomes the opposite of square rooting, which is squaring. So 20 squared plus k squared equals 29 squared. Well, I don't happen to know that one, so I'm reaching for my calculator. 29 squared, which is 841. So probably a calculator question, this one, I think. So 841. Let's put some numbers in here then. So 20 squared, well, that one is 400, isn't it? 20 times 20. So 400 plus k squared is 841. Well, in that case, 400 plus k squared is 841. So 400 plus 441 would be k squared. So k squared must be 441. Of course, another way of looking at that is that we could solve it like an equation. So move the 400 to the other side. K squared is 841 minus 400, which is 441. So k squared is 441. So k must be the opposite of squaring, square root of 441. And k is actually 21. Now, go back to the question here, because you might be thinking what I'm thinking. The magnitude of that vector is 29. Find the value of k. Now, in the question, they do not say anything about k. They do not say whether it's a positive number or a negative number. Sometimes in this kind of question, they do say, you know, k is positive or k is negative. So you might know, I think we did cover this on one of our videos a while ago, actually, that if we're solving this kind of question, k squared equals 441. K, in fact, is the positive or negative of the square root of 441. So k could be 21 or negative 21, because negative 21 squared is negative 21 times negative 21, positive 441. So I think in this case, we have two solutions. Looking at the question, they're not very generous there, are they? Because often if they have two solutions, they do give us two spaces for the answers, don't they? But that's why I looked back at the question. They're not saying in that question that k has to be positive or k has to be negative or anything like that. So k can be 21 or negative 21. But the important point of that question is that it is the same every time. It's the same as questions that we've done before. The magnitude of the vector, we just carry on working out magnitude as if we know what k actually is. We get a little equation to solve, then we can find the value of k. Here's another question that, even though it looks slightly different, it is the same. It's the same every time, even though they've worded things a little bit differently. A is the point, look at the picture, A is the point -1, 1. They've drawn the coordinate grid there. B is the point 8, 7. Write AB with an arrow as a column vector. Well, column vector is just another name for a vector. It's written as a column, isn't it? One number above the other. Remember, the vector is to move from A to B, so the vector AB with an arrow over the top. If I'm moving from A to B, how far across do I go? Well, I'm starting at -1 and I'm moving to 8. So how many places across have I gone there? I've moved 9 places across. And then the question is, how far up do I go? So I'm starting at 1. And I'm moving up to 7 on my y-axis. So I'm starting at 1 and moving up to 7. So I've moved up 6 places. So I move 9 places that way from -1 to 8. And I move 6 places that way from 1 to 7 on my y-axis. So that's all they're asking us for. Writing down the column vector, the vector, how far across do I move, how far up do I move if I'm moving from the point A to the point B. And again, in this question, they haven't got the word magnitude in there, but we do recognize this is a magnitude of the vector question, magnitude of AB. Well, even if you get part A wrong here, you can still get the follow-through marks by doing the calculation correctly for your numbers. But magnitude of AB, all I have to do is take each of the numbers in my vector, 9 and 6, square them, add them. Okay, 9 squared plus 6 squared. And, well, that's going to give me 9 squared is 81 plus 6 squared 36, which is going to give me 81 plus 36, of course. So that's 117. Well, 117 is not a square number, so calculate a job here. So that's square root of 117. I think I'll write down my calculation and the square root 117 here, just to make sure that I do get all the marks in this question. And then I'm going to round my final answer to 10.8. I'm going to write down there that I've rounded it to 3 significant figures. So 3 significant figures would be a sensible level of accuracy, but notice that I've written down all of my working out here just to make sure that I'm definitely going to get all of the marks. If you have a question like this on your exam, it's always worth going back to the question and reading it to see if they have actually asked us to write it to a certain level of accuracy. And again, thank you for watching. I do hope the video has been useful to you. If the video was useful to you, then please do like and subscribe. I will return for the next video.